All right, Alphas, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about mobility and why you should do it, okay? So let's first start off with the difference between flexibility and mobility. These two things get confused all the time. So flexibility is your body's ability to passively go through a full range of motion, okay? So touching your toes, right? Passive, you're going to hang, you're going to make sure that you don't actually create the tension within your body. When we talk about mobility, we're talking about the strength of the muscle at that joint to go through full range of motion. So the difference between the two is tension. When we're going through a full range of motion in mobility, that tension not only helps to protect the joint, but it also helps to strengthen the musculature around that joint, which makes us better. So if we're talking about sports, if we're talking about everyday living, if we're talking about just getting up every day and not feeling stiff, our mobility will impact that. So that's why we train our mobility, so we can correctly move through a full range of motion within a certain movement pattern. Not only does this assist in being able to create strength, say through a squat, because you can now hit the bottom ranges of your squats instead of stopping and doing partial squats, okay? Not only are we going to add that strengthening aspect, but it's also going to protect the joints. So let's say you're doing something like an overhead press. If you have poor shoulder mobility and you can't get your arm to a 90 degree, okay, when you're coming down and lowering the bar, and that mobility isn't there in your shoulder, you're going to hurt, okay? You're going to feel pain. So mobility not only helps with getting you through full range of motion so you can strengthen the musculature, where if you're doing a partial squat and we're having you do 135 on the bar, and we want to get stronger, if we can get you to a full squat, okay, breaking parallel, that is going to be an increase in strength. It may not look like it on bar, but being able to go through that full range of motion will now activate more musculature and help with mobility throughout the rest of your body and strengthening around the joints. So you're not only going to see the strengthening, you're not only going to be able to help prevent injury, you're also going to see differences in your body composition, because you're going to be able to activate more of the musculature that you're actually trying to train. So you're going to get a greater change in the way your body looks. This is why mobility is so important. The one thing and the key here when we go through mobility exercises is we're not doing it to complete a rep, okay? We are doing it to create tension, okay? So if we are doing a little bit of shoulder mobility, you're not just going like this, okay? That's not effective. You want to be up, nice and tall, palms up, and slowly rotate out, opening up, okay? Keeping your head tucked, rotate, okay? Because you're going to create that tension within the musculature, within the joints, and you're actually going to strengthen and do all the things that we already talked about. So this is why mobility is so important, and it's very important to know the difference between flexibility and mobility.